Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, good morning, devotees. Welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam class. Coming to you live from, not sure where I am, but it's next to the Midway Diner, which makes sense considering I'm midway between where I was last night, New Jersey, and Gita Nagari. Okay, anyway, so chant a little. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Vijanavalabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamunatira Vana Chari Jamunatira Vanachari Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jayadha Madhava Kunjabihari Jayadha Madhava Kunjabihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Shri Radhe Jai Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Shri Radhe Prabhupada 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada Jai Jai Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so they're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 24. Start with verse number 4. Okay, so that's 5:24:4. Tato dastat siddhacharana vyadanaranam sadanam tava matra eva. Translation. Below Rahu by 10,000 yojanas, 80,000 miles, there are planets known as Siddhaloka, Charnaloka, and Vidyadharaloka. Purport. It is said that the residents of Siddhaloka, being naturally endowed with the powers of yogis, can go from one planet to another by their natural mystic powers without using airplanes or similar machines. Next text. Just read the translation. Beneath Vidyadharaloka, Charnaloka, and Siddhaloka, in the sky called Antariksha, are the places of enjoyment for the yakshas, rakshasas, pisachas, ghosts, and so on. Antariksha extends as far as the wind blows and the clouds float in the sky. Above this there is no more air. Text 6. Below the abodes of the yakshas and rakshasas, by a distance of 100 yojanas, 800 miles, is the planet Earth. Its upper limits extend as high as swans, hawks, eagles, and similar large. Its upper limits extend as high as swans, hawks, eagles, and similar large birds can fly. Text 7. My dear king, beneath this earth are 7 other planets known as Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, and Patala. I have already explained the situation of the planetary systems of Earth. The width and length of the 7 lower planetary systems are calculated to be exactly the same as those of Earth. Okay, and text 8. This is the final verse, so I'll read through Sanskrit and synonyms. Eteshu hi bila svargeshu svargarapti yadika kama bhogashvaya nanda bhuti vibhuti visu samrida bhavana dhyana krida vyahareshu daitya danava kadraveya nitya pamudita nurakta kalatya patya pandu suhiranuchara guhapataya Ishvararapya kama maya vinoda nivisanti. Synonyms. Eteshu, in these. He, certainly. Bila Svargeshu, known as the heavenly subterranean worlds. Svargat, the heavenly planet. Svargat, than the heavenly planets. Api, even. Adika, a greater quantity. Kama Bhoga, enjoyment of sense gratification. Aishvarya Ananda, bliss due to opulence. Bhuti, influence. Vibhuti, be, by those things and wealth. By those things and wealth. Su, Samprida, improve. Bhavana, houses. Udyana, gardens. Kridha, Vihareshu, the places for different types of sense gratification. Daitya, the demons. Dhanava, ghosts. Kadraveya, snakes. Nitya, who are always. Pramudita, overjoyed. Anurakta, because of attachment. Kalatra, to wife. Apatya, children. Pandu, family relations. Suhrit, friends. Anuchara, followers. Grihapataya, the heads of the households. Ishvarat, then those more capable, like the demigods. Api, even. Apratihata, kama, whose fulfillment of lusty desires is unimpeded. Maya, illusory. Vinoda, who feels happiness. Nivasanti, live. Translation. In these 7 planetary systems, which are known as the subterranean heavens, Bilga Svarga, there are very beautiful houses, gardens, and palaces, and places of sense enjoyment, which are even more opulent than those in the higher planets, because the demons have a very high standard of sensual pleasure, wealth, and influence. Most of the residents of these planets, who are known as Daityas, Danavas, and Nagas, live as householders. Their wives, children, friends, and society are all fully engaged in illusory material happiness. The sense enjoyment of the demigods is sometimes disturbed. The residents of these planets enjoy life without disturbances. Thus, they are understood to be very attached to illusory happiness. Purport. According to the statements of Prahlad Maharaj, material enjoyment is Maya Sukha, illusory enjoyment. A Vaishnava is full of anxieties for the deliverance of all living entities from such false enjoyment. Prahlad Maharaj says, Maya Sukhaya Param Udhavato Vimudhan. These fools, Vimudas, are engaged in material happiness, which is surely temporary. Whether in the heavenly planets, the lower planets, or the earthly planets, people are engrossed in temporary and material happiness, forgetting that in due course of time they have to change their bodies according to material laws and suffer the repetition of birth, death, and old age and disease. Not caring what will happen in the next birth, growth materialists are simply busy enjoying during the present short span of life. A Vaishnava is always anxious to give all such bewildered materialists the real happiness of spiritual bliss. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshuniritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagujatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Paritana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakampitam Sa Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Titanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, welcome again to this morning's class, live from the midway point. So, yes, I'd like to ask for the blessings of all the devotees that can say something that is in line with the parampara and beneficial to everyone. So this verse is this little section here, continuation of the explanation of the cosmic situation. And so we're hearing a little about how, surprisingly, the planet of the Yakshas and Rakshasas is actually just, as it said, 800 miles above us here on the earthly planet. So it's very interesting that yes, they're not very far away. The planets of the Yakshas and Rakshasas, and as we know that yes, Lord Lord Shiva, the many yakshas and rakshasas, hobgoblins and whatnot, they follow around Lord Shiva. They're considered like his associates. And so very interesting because you can see they also have a way of being purified by this method. So just as the Vedic scriptures are meant to purify anyone, whatever their desires may be, even if um, even if one wants to worship goddess Kali, for example, in order to eat meat or drink, there's certain mantras that accompany that, and ultimately these mantras will purify, because Om is said to be a purifying mantra. Om is actually non-different than the Supreme Personality of God. So by chanting mantras such as Om, then one gradually gets purified. So I remember recently I was at a preaching event, and after the kirtan, one of the guests said, "Oh, can we chant Om?" Because it was such a wonderful kirtan, and everyone was feeling so enlivened. And then the kirtan stopped. So then one of the guests, he said, "Can we chant Om together?" And so the organizers said, "Okay, yeah, so we can chant Om." So we all chanted Om. And I was I was a little confused. Like I didn't confused in that I just wasn't used to like just chanting Om. So I was like, okay, well, I just meditate on the sound vibration, So, but then I was reading recently a purport in Prabhupada saying that Om is actually non-different than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if one chants Om with that understanding, then there's no difference between chanting that and the Hare Krishna mantra. It's all referring to the Supreme Personality of God. So anyways, yeah, Lord Shiva has his followers, and in this way they are also following. They're also becoming purified by worshiping this form of the Supreme Personality of God, and then the Lord Shiva. So yeah, so today's the purport purport to verse number 8. It's talking about the enjoyment on the subterranean heavenly planets, which, as Venamadira Prabhu brought up yesterday, it's very interesting because they actually have more enjoyment in these planets, even though they're subterranean, like below us. So generally, one thinks, okay, the higher heavenly planets, that's where more enjoyment naturally is. But interesting that, as it was said in the verse or purport today, that actually they actually enjoy unimpeded happiness there. Or what was it? What did it say? I don't think it's unimpeded happiness, but unimpeded sense enjoyment. Let me just look at the exact way it was described. So they have higher standard of sensual pleasure, wealth, and influence. The sense enjoyment of the demigods is sometimes disturbed, but the residents of these planets enjoy life without disturbance. Thus, they're understood to be very attached to the illusory happiness. So yes, this illusory happiness. So this is, of course, this is actually what is what is fueling the whole material world to go forth, is this pursuit of happiness. This, as we say, the carrot hanging, dangling in front of the donkey. Um, the donkey's this run, chasing after the carrot, thinking the happiness would be there, but actually, um, no matter how fast it moves, doesn't actually move closer to the carrot. It's just always dangling there. So it's amazing to think, just looking around um, the world, and you can see how much effort is actually being put, how much effort people are using for their day-to-day endeavors, for their careers, for advancing, um, advancing their careers, advancing themselves, the scientific field, um, whatever, raising family, being devoted to some philanthropic mission. Like this, people are putting in lots of endeavor because they think, okay, yes, I will actually become happy by this. And even though I'm not experiencing this happiness now, I know it's out there because I see smiling people on TV. I see when I check Instagram, I see other people's Instagrams and they look so happy. So it must be out there. I just have to try a little harder. So in this way, people are trying this and that. And I was thinking, especially nowadays, it's the options are just so great. Like, okay, you're not feeling happy, you have this option, that option. Whereas before these options were quite limited, and okay, you know, after trying to adjust a few things in your material situation, you kind of just probably become settled and think, okay, well, yeah, okay, this is just as much happiness as I'm gonna get. But now there's the options are just, you can go live anywhere in the world. You can pursue any career you'd like. You can even change your gender. You can change your sexual orientation. So now there's so many options. So now people feel discontent. They think, oh, well, okay, that's okay. I let me try this option, that option, and in this way, they're just um, trying this and that, and endeavoring very hard. So there's this verse, I believe Prahlad Maharaj says that people are endeavoring very hard just to go to hell. So just see how people are endeavoring so hard, and what is their ultimate destination. Well, unfortunately, because of the times we live in, they're headed toward very abominable next lives. So this is the nature of the this is actually what is this is what the illusory energy is. The illusory energy is actually bewildering us into thinking, okay, I can get something, like like a magician, right? When a magician acts, he's able to present something do a magic trick, do something with the card, and you actually what you see is actually not what's happening, right? They're creating like some type of illusion. So like they might do some trick, but and it might seem like they did something very wonderful. They made a card disappear or something, but actually it's just some kind of technique that they've learned to be able to do that. So that same principle that of being ultimately tricked. That's also what everyone, yeah, most people in the material world are being tricked by, are succumbing to. Um, and yeah, it's very interesting. I was just listening to a class. So in this, Deva Amrita Swami was saying that um, he explains this point often that Maya is actually not a teacher. Like Maya is not meant to teach us. Like for example, someone could live in this material world, someone could, and for many years be an old person and have experienced so many things and so many miseries and experienced how you know these material pursuits haven't actually been successful in making them happy, but still they don't actually learn that, okay, yeah, I'm barking up the wrong tree. So we learn from Shastra, we learn from the devotees. That's actually how we learn. Uh, just like a magician, a magician may do so many tricks, and we can try to figure it out, but probably we're not going to be able to figure it out just on our own by analyzing whatever, taking notes and whatever. But what happens if the magician tells us, okay, this is actually how I did this trick. This is these are the things I did. This is how I manipulated the situation. Then one can actually know. Then one can actually understand how the trick is taking place. So similarly, yes, the Vedas, the devotees, this is how we're actually able to see how the illusion is happening, um, and ultimately overcome this illusion. Um, so yeah, so ultimately this is our anchor. Our anchor is actually Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. We might think, we might be thinking this, we might be thinking that. Um, yeah, the mind, like it's the mind is just a reservoir of ideas and impressions. So that's one of the I guess descriptions of the mind is that the mind stores all the experiences. So okay, you had this experience, you had that experience, you're exposed to this kind of so-called pleasure, exposed to these people saying this and that. So all that is now stored in the mind, and so therefore, now the mind puts all these things together and starts like concocting these ideas. Well, oh yeah, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. Maybe this is what would make me happy. Maybe that's what would make me happy. So like that. So you can see, yeah, the mind is very flickering, like being in a movie store. Um, imagine just going. Of course, they don't really have movie stores nowadays, but I think many of us have been to a movie store in the past. So many movies there, right? So many different genres and just movies within those genres. And so now our mind is in there. That's like a little kid being in that movie store, and the little kid is just set him wild. Kid starts looking at this and that. So that's like how the mind is with all the different experiences we've had in life. So it can get quite wild. Can go to many far distant regions, have many types of different ideas. But what is our grounding force is this Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. This is the guiding light. And yeah, so and that's what it's described, that the Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, they're free from the four defects. So yeah, they're actually in perfection. They're unaffected by the illusions of the illusions, mistakes, propensity for cheating, like this. So it's actually perfect knowledge. So it's said here in the purport, whether in the heavenly planets, the lower planets, or the earthly planets, people are engrossed in temporary material happiness, forgetting that in due course of time they have to change their bodies according to the material laws and suffer the repetition of birth, old age, and disease. Not, yeah. Then it's explained how they don't care, not caring for this, not caring for what will happen in their next birth. Gross materials is simply busy enjoying during the short present span of life. Yeah, so this life is actually a preparation for the next life. This is very important, very important to remember that. Yeah, it's not one and done. It's not just this life and that's it. No, this life is the consciousness that we're creating in this life that will carry us on into our next life. As Prabhupada saying here. So the we should not be, how do I say, misled or forget that we are, that this is like a transition point, because it's a very short life anyways, very temporary. And but by trying to enjoy in this life, we can totally have to suffer in the next life. So better thing to do is use this life as a preparation, the way to propel ourselves into the next life for a better birth. So that's why often this term is said, giving one life to Krishna, just one short life. It's not, life goes by so quickly. Like everyone says that, right? That it's amazing how kids grow up. Just like I was at this temple last night, and I remember the first time I went to that temple, maybe 6 years ago or so, and I went with His Holiness Dave Mrita Swami, And there was this, one of the young girls of the congregation. She was leading the kirtan as Maharaj came in to give the class. It's just this young girl like leading this kirtan, and it's cute how they let the young kids lead. And now when I went to that temple last night, Bergen, they actually just have it. They rent out a church, but yeah, very wonderful congregation. So now this same little girl I saw now, she was actually giving the class. So it was amazing. Even just I guess it's been just things in this life just go by so quickly. Yeah. So better to instead of being illusioned by the so-called happiness, better to keep this thing in mind. Keep it in mind that yes, this body, this life is meant for preparing for my next life. And as it said here, that a Vaishnava is always anxious to give such bewildered materialists the real happiness of spiritual bliss. So it's interesting because we see so much material world. It's explained, right? Dukkalayam, just misery, place of unhappiness, temporary happiness, dissatisfaction. Then when we hear descriptions of the life of devotees, it's all susu kartam avyayam, joyfully performed. And we hear that the bliss that one gets by service to God is, is like an ocean compared to the calf of Brahman realization. The happiness of Brahman realization is thousands of times more than what one gets in material happiness. Bliss, right? Ananda, Sakchitananda, bliss, knowledge, eternity. So we hear so many descriptions are like that in talking about devotional service, and we can experience it also. Yeah, this of course, there's the wonderful happiness that one gets, like whatever, by a festival, or being in an amazing kirtan, or being in an association of great souls. That's like, these are experience of heightened happiness, but also just in day-to-day life for a devotee, there's so much contentment is there, because one is actually situated in one's position. It's like if you take a fish out of water, the fish won't be happy, but you put the fish back in the water, it'll be happy. And similarly, even if you just, if the fish is out of water, if you just pour a little water on the fish, it'll be happy. So similarly, whatever connection we have to devotional service, to that extent, we can actually feel that we're happy. So I like this point Prabhupada makes here, that the Vaishnava is anxious to give such bewildered materialists the real happiness of spiritual bliss. And Prabhupada, in one purport in the Bhagavad Gita, I believe the fifth chapter, he describes how the devotee, he knows from past experience how much misery was there by living a life of material pursuits. So we can all think back, yes, how like miserable, how lost we were, how stressed out and just unsatisfied we were in materialistic life. And Prabhupada said we should use those remembrances to realize how others are suffering. So just as we were suffering then, similarly, if we look around and see that everyone's suffering in a similar way. um, and that can be the impetus to actually go out and want to expose people to this knowledge. Yeah, the Vaishnava is always anxious to give all such bewildered materialists the real happiness of spiritual bliss. Amazing. And yeah, I was hearing recently that it's our lifestyles, the Vedas. There is so many ways to connect people. Um, you can connect people through the diet, Ayurveda, through kirtan, meditation like that, through just all the knowledge we have about living a better life, the three modes of material nature, teaching people how to live a more sattvic life, teaching people the lessons about self-control, controlling the senses, controlling our anger, becoming a better person. So there's so many things that actually we have that are not necessarily the main point of um, you know like God as a person, and we can God flute playing cowherd boy. Um, this is the ultimate goal, the ultimate understanding. But even leading up to that, there's so many kind of corollary byproducts of wonderful nuggets of wisdom that people can be attracted to. It's like that we have so much to share with people, and um, yeah, we can, like I said here, get them, uh, give such bewildered materialists the real happiness of spiritual bliss. Okay, so I think I'll stop there. If anyone has any questions or comments. Never given a class in a gas station before. I guess I have when we did traveling Sankirtan. It was quite common, but it's definitely been a while. So please forgive me for my many shortcomings. But yeah, if there are any questions or comments, please feel free to do so now. Okay, well, if there's nothing,
Hare
I'll end the call.
Krishna.
Oh, okay. Hare Krishna.
I'm not sure I have anything of any substance, but I do want to thank you for your nice class. And I'm just, I've been rereading these texts and trying to wrap my head around these descriptions, and I'm really having a hard time making sense of this. So there are um, in the sky, evidently, you have um, the what is it? Yakshas, Rakshasas, uh, um, Yakshas, Rakshasas, Pishachas, ghosts, and so on, um, living in the sky. And then beneath the earth are the seven planets that comprise the heavenly subterranean planets. They're described as subterranean. And I'm just trying to understand how this really works. I was looking at the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur for a little expanded perspective, and it served to confuse me even more. Um, because he says here, where is that? Uh, One moment here while I find this specific quote. Um, oh gosh, now it's eluding me. Okay, here we go. Um, so in the text 7, he gives his translation. Well, actually, he doesn't. Yeah, there's a translation given, but so he makes a comment on this verse. The verse reads, I have already described the position and divisions of the earth. Beneath this earth, there are seven other planets known as Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Palatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, and Patala, whose width and length are 10,000 yojanas, with an interval of 10,000 yojanas between each one. So in his comment, he says, below the earth, in different parts, are the seven lower planets. Mu Viraha means in, and this is what threw me. It says Bu Viraha means in hollow cavities of the earth. In hollow cavities of the earth. So he says it refers to Attila and the other planets. And I'm trying to figure out how these dimensions fit within hollow cavities of the earth, and are they actually below the earth or beneath the surface of the earth? And it's I find it all confounding, but uh, none of it changes my fundamental problems of just simply trying to remember Krishna. But anyway, so I don't really have a comment. I have questions. My big question is I'm just trying to understand how these different elements are situated relative to one another, and it's not really clear to me. I guess I don't know. I think I need to see a diagram, but I don't know if you can shed any light on any of this. I don't think um, I've ever met a devotee that was really able to clarify any of this. I think pretty much everyone that I have known has been similarly confused by these descriptions. So if you didn't have anything to add to my understanding, you don't have to feel bad. You're in good company, I guess. Um, but that's like the only it's the one burning question I have, I guess. I'm just trying to understand how this works. Oh, and apart from that, if you have anything to say about how Vaishnavas observe eclipses, since we've got um, uh, total eclipse coming up in a few hours, um, that would be of interest. Or I could mention some of what I have learned and some of my experience from time in India. India, it is common for all kinds of temples to actually close. They just shut everything down during an eclipse. No artiques, no bhoga offerings, no nothing. They close the doors, lock the doors, and everyone just hides out. Um, for the entire duration of the eclipse. There are certain activities that people will strictly avoid. They don't eat during the eclipse. They don't. One of the big things that you're supposed to avoid is conceiving children during the eclipse. It's said that if you do that, the children will be born with deformities. Um, What else is there? Of course, at the time of the appearance of Lord Chaitanya, we have the description given by Srila Prabhupada in the introduction to Srimad Bhagavatam. He describes um, the appearance of Lord Chaitanya at that time. All the residents of Navadvip, for their purification, they all immerse themselves in the waters of the Ganges. And then in addition to uh, immersing themselves in the purifying waters of the Ganges, they also loudly chanted the holy names of the Lord. All of this to protect them and purify them from the contaminating effects of um, the eclipse. So during eclipses, um, at least in India, many people will they will also consider any unoffered boga that is exposed to the eclipse. They will consider that to be unofferable. So if they have any stock of boga in their home, they will try to consume all of it before the eclipse. Um, and some will try to circumvent the problem by sealing their items of boga in a cabinet or box or somehow or other so that the contaminated light rays will not reach the boga. I have no authoritative information on any of this, whether or not that works or is actually an issue at all. I have no idea. But that is the practice of some people, and there are devotees who will do this. They'll try to avoid any contact of both during solar and lunar eclipses. Whatever light does reach the Earth, they try to avoid having any boga come in contact with that light. Um, and some people will just simply not offer anything that was not already offered prior to the eclipse. But for Vaishnavas, the big thing is that they just simply chant the holy names during eclipses. Primarily, that's what they do. And if you happen to be in the vicinity of the Ganga or the Jamuna or some other um, sanctified body of water. Vaishnavas may bathe during that period of time. And the period of the eclipse is kind of lengthy, though. It's a long time to be in a this time of year, um, early April, to be immersed in cold water for hours. The period of the eclipse, they're depending upon how you look at it, they're from the local perspectives, the eclipse is so many hours, but for the purpose of protecting yourself from the contaminating effects of the eclipse, you are not concerned just with the the period of time during which the eclipse is visible locally, but the entire period of time that the eclipse is visible from any point on Earth. So it becomes a lengthier period of time. The timings often given in the media will make reference only to the times that you will actually be able to see the eclipse. But for our purposes, we're concerned with the first contact of the outermost limb of the eclipse with the Earth. Um, so the the point in time where the beginning of the penumbra first makes contact with the Earth and the point at which it leaves the Earth, those are the starting and ending points that we're concerned with, and it will be different than what you'll see described in the media. Interestingly, um, I discovered that the most authoritative information for the timings of eclipses comes from NASA, and there is one guy in particular who does all these calculations for NASA. Throughout the world, he is the ultimate authority on eclipses. Um, there is one video in which he explains that the calculations are actually based on an ancient Babylonian formula. They still use that to this day. This is what NASA uses. And it's based upon a geocentric conception of the solar system. It is never calculated from a heliocentric conception. And he explains it's not even possible. You cannot predict eclipses from uh, a heliocentric, or if your conception is that the sun is the center of the solar system, from that conception, it's not possible to to predict the movements of the sun, the earth, and the moon, and arrive at any kind of accurate prediction of eclipses. It is always done from a geocentric conception, the Earth as the center of the solar system. So that's interesting, and it explains um, perhaps why in the Vedic conception uh, all the calculations are done from a geocentric uh, conception. Um, Evidently, it makes it possible to make accurate predictions about the relative movements of the heavenly bodies relative to the Earth, and you can't do that from um, uh, a heliocentric conception. Anyway, that's all I've got. If you have anything to add, I would be very interested to hear. Um, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I guess my main takeaway from all this, and just a general siddhanta of devotional life, is that yes, engage in devotional service while this is going on, and devotional service is all purifying. So if you sometimes do engage in material activities, then this is probably not the best time to do it. Better to yes engage in devotional service at these times, and always, but especially at these times. So this is actually a benediction for the devotees, because we can it's impetus to engage in devotional service for those times, because as it's being said that or yeah, apparently there's bona fide sources about it, that the exposure to at this time is, I guess, to the sun rays. I'm not sure how it works, but you're supposed to stay inside like that. So apparently it's contaminating. So, yeah, I remember the last solar eclipse. We were distributing books on a college campus. They had a whole event, and everyone was out there with their classes. And we just took it as an opportunity. Great, we just distribute books. It means many people are in the same place, kind of in a festive mood. Had like music playing and stuff, and we were so absorbed. I don't even practically remember even looking at the eclipse. Not because it was the effects of looking at it, but I think I was just so blissed out and absorbed in doing devotional service that I didn't even care about such an event. So yeah, engage in devotional service. It's great impetus, great benediction in this eclipse for that reason. Okay, thank you all very much. Granta Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.